1 minute more to start. Thank you for joining. Harvey Castro, where are you located? You have
I'm
amazing background.
I'm in Dallas, Texas. That's thank you. That's a Samsung screen behind me that I use for my talks. Instead of doing virtual, I like having a real TV screen. I used to be on NBC and a bunch of TV stations a lot, so I thought, you know what, just let me create it. That way I can change the picture for any presentations that I give.
Wow, amazing.
Thanks.
So I think we are ready to start. Great to meet you. My name is Juana Ordóñez. I'm co-founder of EdLatam. We are co-hosting together with Next Collabs this symposium. And it is my honor to welcome you to this AI and Future of Work symposium for business leaders. AI is not longer a science fiction fantasy. It's an undeniable reality that is rapidly shaping our world. AI is already being used as a wide range of applications, from self-driving cars to medical diagnosis. It is automating tasks, improving efficiency, and making our life easier. But its AI also presents a number of challenges, like including ethical concerns, job displacement, and potential for misuse. For education perspective and for EdLab Alliance, it's so important to come together to learn today to learn about education, responsible AI, workplace agility, enterprise, exponential AI, and Next Collab mission. Finally, I would like to make a brief overview of EdLatam. We are the education cooperation ecosystem that empowers the education companies to upgrade their existing strategies with the support of global trailblazers to navigate the unknowns with global trailblazer as global next collapse. That is helping businesses to enhance and drive innovation through the mindset, skill set, and tool set necessary to transition from Web 2 to Web 3 with AI. Finally, I will introduce Michael Morrison, that is the founder and CEO of Next Collabs. He is an strategic futurist. His focus is on leveraging emerging next gen trends in exponential technologies, particularly in generative AI. He is passionate about helping enterprises, organizations, and corporations to get ahead of disruption and prepare leaders and teams for the next frontier. An outstanding fact about Michael is that with over 20 years of experience, he's an award winning architect and urban designer. He worked on innovative, high density projects in cities like Toronto and New York. And now at Next Collabs, he is combining theory, research, and practice to drive innovation and create meaningful business transformations and solutions. Thank you, Michael, for make this happen and to be together to share about AI with LATAM.
Well, thanks so much, Juanita. Such a pleasure to be here. Welcome, everyone. As Juanita said, I'm the founder and CEO of Next Collabs, and really excited to have everyone here today. It's early morning, probably for many of you. For Gary Bowles, our co-founder here at Next Collabs, it's like early AM in Australia. And the event today, AI and the Next Rules of Work, a symposium for business leaders. I will be the co-host with Juanita and your MC for today. We are covering what Gary and I talk about as the AI diamond, and we've collected numerous speakers from our community and our company to help sort of frame out the facets of AI. Really, 2023 really was the year of AI, according to Time Magazine. I think we can all concur with that. The facets we will look at will range from responsible AI to mindset, skill set, and tool set plus AI, and enterprise LLMs, and how to automate your core business practices using AI. This event is designed as a rapid fire 90-minute session. Really, we fashioned it in a way as an executive summary of the current state of AI. 10 minutes from 6 or 7 of our speakers at Next Collabs to give you an overview of the current state of play and where to get a foothold in what I call the AI movement. I think it's here to stay. We can all kind of agree that it's been one heck of a year, 2023. And I'm very excited to share an amazing lineup of speakers. And each of these speakers has a unique superpower and expertise. And all of us are united under a shared North Star to shape the future growth of your business by leveraging AI. Before we go further, I'd love to know where you are in the world. So please share that in the chat. And I want to give you just an overview really quickly of today's session. So let me share my screen and get that set up. Okay, so we're going to start with, we've already had Juanita give us an overview. I'm going to give you a sense of how this whole thing is going to unfold over the next 90 minutes. We're going to start with Gary Bowles, who's going to do a 10x talk around AI mindset, skill set, and tool set to kind of frame the discussion. High level, we all know mindset, skill set, tool set relative to your organization is a very stable way to describe all the domains that are happening within your organization. What happens when we shift it over to AI and adding those to each of those areas? So Gary is going to be with us at the very beginning to frame the whole discussion. We're going to pass it to Fernando Valenzuela, who's going to talk about education plus AI. Doug Hoholland on responsible AI. Then to Marty Constance, workplace agility and AI. Ivan Hernandez, enterprise LLMs. Roy Vela, exponential AI is a sort of very big picture of the exponential moment that we're all experiencing, especially in 2023. And then finally, we're going to all bring it home with Brad Rochefort, who will talk about what's next. How do I take all this kind of momentum and this kind of emergent feature and add AI to my business in my specific industry? And then we'll bring it back to the end and we'll do a Q&A together. And let me come to the screen here. Okay, so that gives you an overview of the session. And let's get this. Hang on. So just to give you an overview of what is Next Collabs and our partnership with EdLATAM Alliance. You might be wondering what that is. We are a dynamic global company empowering businesses with comprehensive AI solutions. We have a diverse team of professionals to lead AI trainings and workshops and strategy consulting. We have a global AI membership community, and we do bespoke AI enterprise solutions with our dev teams to automate your core business processes. And if you're interested in more, you can scan the QR code, which is here, and that'll take you to a landing site relative to all those services. So to go back to the chat, maybe Juanita, you can tell us where people are coming from on this call.
Great. So I'm seeing people from all over Americas, Mexico, Costa Rica, San Francisco, Colombia, Toronto, Brazil. Bom dia. Peru. We have like a representation from all over the countries.
Beautiful. We're covering North and South America here, primarily. Really excited to have this global audience. Okay, so on the Q&A, what we're thinking is in the chat, we have like 7 of our experts from our team here who really love to engage you in the chat. And so what we're thinking, if you have any questions during each of the presentations, just drop them in the chat and dynamically they will answer them in real time in any domain related to AI. So use that as a resource. And at the very end, we'll have like 10 minutes to kind of share the screen in totality, and we can surface a few questions together with our experts. So with that, let's begin our session. Our first speaker is Gary Bowles, the co-founder of Next Collabs. He's the author of, and many of you might know this already, The Next Rules of Work. He's the chair of the Future of Work at Singularity University. And as many of you know, he is the ambassador to Silicon Valley. Last year, he did 150 Firestarter talks with Fortune 500 companies, and he's probably doing the exact same thing again this year. He's in Australia today. He's pretty much traveling the world, telling executives about the future of work and exponential tech. And 2023 was all about basically the future of AI and your business. So you may feel overwhelmed, and Gary's here to help show us how to develop the AI mindset, skill set, and tool set needed to surf the AI tsunami. Over to you, Gary.
Oh, thanks, Michael. And thanks so much to the team from the EdLatam Alliance. It's wonderful to be able to build this collaboration and to see all the multiplier effect of having so many creative people on the same session. So thank you all for joining us. Welcome. This could be a high wattage session. So I wanted to just maybe set the table just a little bit. So as Michael mentioned, I'm the author of The Next Rules of Work, chair for the Future Work with Singularity University, co-founder of Next Collabs. I've got 10 courses on LinkedIn Learning with 1.4 million learners, a small but mighty consulting company called Charette that focuses on initiatives with impact, which is why I'm here in Queensland, Australia, focusing on workforce issues. And then I have a small software company called eParachute. And so what I'd like to be able to help you maybe have some language around is how to think about these times of exponential change in which we live. And if there's any people I can try to channel, it's Peter Diamandis and Ray Kurzweil, the co-founders of Singularity University. And what Ray initially, and then Peter as well, has talked about for quite some time, is that we are entering into the era of exponential change, not just the speed and scale that technologies like the microprocessors that drive our digital distraction devices, but a wide range of technologies. And certainly there's no greater poster child for exponential change than the AI tsunami that we're all surfing or attempting to surf right now. And so I think this creates just, a little bit of cognitive dissonance, because human minds tend to think fairly linearly, and then we get these really big exponential waves suddenly washing over us. And so I want to offer maybe a framing for how we can try to navigate a world of exponential change. So I talk a lot about mindset, skill set, and tool set. Mindset is how we prepare for what's next. Skill set is how we channel our human energies to solve problems. And tool set are the techniques and technologies that power us to be able to solve the problems of today and tomorrow. So think about the AI tsunami. Think about all these tools that we're trying to leverage right now. And think about the ways that we can actually apply them to the kinds of problems that we've been trying to solve for a long time, but also how they give us superpowers to be able to solve problems that we have never encountered before. That's what I believe is one of the most inspirational opportunities. And one of the things that Next Collabs has been doing is having a range of brilliant people, smart creatives, who are continually ping-ponging off each other, learning this tool set and applying it to developing this continually adaptive mindset and the skill set of being able to apply the technologies to different problems. So as Michael is fond of saying, just add AI. So what is an AI mindset? What is an AI skill set, and how do we think about leveraging that AI tool set? So, I think of these tools as giving us this sort of leap forward in how we have the opportunity to be able to continually approach problems that we've tried to solve before, or approach entirely new problems with a completely different mindset. I've written a series of articles in my newsletter on LinkedIn, trying to help sort of set the table for how we might apply that mindset, skill set, and tool set. And I'll just give you this sort of a brief of overview. So think of the mindset, the way that we approach the kinds of problems that we're continually solving. think of it as a mindset that can open the aperture. We can experiment more. We can do more value creation. We can leverage a growth mindset where we can continually be learning new things and developing new skills. And we can apply those in many cases in strategic areas, solving problems that we've never been able to solve before, and synthesizing the work of people. There were creative people coming at the problem from different angles and synthesizing their work together to be able to solve problems in new ways. So the skill set, as I said, this is how we channel our human energy. What we're continually doing now is we are amping our human skill sets and being able to 10x, to be able to come up with completely new ways to leverage those skills, develop new skills, understand our skills. And certainly where there's no more clear example of where this happens is with workflows. If you attend one of the next collab sessions where our experts are ping-ponging off each other, you see them continually seeing a series of steps that they go through to solve problems, and then applying AI to those problems and being able to do things much more rapidly, much more effectively, much more collaboratively. And so what this does is, again, opens the aperture for the way we think about developing and applying our human skills. And then finally, when we think about the tool set that we're able to leverage, think of it as a combination of both techniques and technologies. So we're not just applying AI algorithms to solving problems. We also have design thinking, rapid prototyping, what we talk about at Singularity University all the time, moonshot thinking, 10xing solutions. And we can apply those techniques to solving problems and then use AI as the technology that can allow us to be able to continually increase the speed and effectiveness with which we solve those problems. So I call this the AI tsunami because what is happening, as you've seen, is that so many of the innovators that are creating these tools are continually releasing new versions. There's just wave after wave of new startups. Here in Australia, I just saw pitches from a dozen different startups, all leveraging AI and creating new value. And so this is these waves, the tsunami is going to continue. And what we have is the opportunity to be able to try to ride those waves by the kinds of collaborative learning that we're talking about through Next Collab. So think of it as problem solving with AI in new ways. I'm fond of saying that work is essentially just three things. It's a problem to be solved. How do we solve problems? We perform tasks. How do we perform tasks? We apply our human skills. So this is how we do work. And humans have done work this way for millennia. So we apply our human skills to performing tasks and solving problems. And now we have the ability to add AI and to be able to solve those problems in completely new ways. So think of it as being this range of problem solving from very tactical issues, things that we're doing repetitively over and over again, to very strategic issues that we're trying to solve. That may be in terms of developing new products, a new market. And then we've got three different contexts in which we apply those processes. We do it personally with our own work. We do it as teams to help to synthesize the work of different people. And then we do it as organizations where we're continually trying to synchronize those actions to be able to create value for the organization stakeholders. These AI tools allow us to be able to amplify the process of problem solving in each of these domains. And so that gives us the opportunity to be able to leverage an AI mindset, develop an AI skill set, and continually stay on top of the AI tsunami of the constantly changing landscape of the tool set. So I hope that sort of sets the table a little bit. And now what you're going to hear is that from a range of experts taking different facets of the diamond that Michael was talking about and showing how that mindset and that skill set can be amplified by the tool set.
Beautiful presentation. Thank you so much, Gary, for sort of framing our showcase session today. Okay, next to Fernando Valenzuela. Fernando is the CEO and co-founder of Atlatam Alliance. He's a global leader in education technology, driving transformative change in Latin America. With over 30 years of diversified experience in education, finance, and technology, he was recognized as the Global Visionary of the Year by EdTech Digest in 2022. A multidimensional professional. Fernando specializes in achieving impact at scale through investment, product design, institutional buildup, and innovative educational solutions. His talk, really excited to hear this one. The Nexus of Learning, Navigating the Synergy Between Human Creativity and Artificial Intelligence for Future Learners. Over to you, Fernando.
Thank you so much, Michael and Gary. It's great to partner with you. Just give me a sign if you can see my presentation already. All right. So yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to partner with Next Collabs. I think it makes a lot of sense for EdLatam to build this new partnership as we enter this new arena of change in education and artificial intelligence. So let me just start. We've been doing this for over 15 years, placing the EdTech ecosystem of LATAM in the world and bringing the world to Latin America. And that now enters a new dimension, a new era, the era of artificial intelligence. So in that sense, what is happening in education is that we're moving from a finite game to an infinite game, to this lifelong learning journey and to learning from more people than ever, rather than learning from books or learning from subjects. In this idea, then we started in the agricultural society, learning about how to do things. Then in the industrial society, it was the focus on what processes, what formulas, what you needed to memorize. And now we're entering a new era of know who and know why. And there is a know-how that is totally different. And that is where we're focusing today, the know-how of artificial intelligence and augmented intelligence with technology. This is something that we saw recently in Finland, one of our trips around the world. We began seeing how companies in Finland are rethinking the set of having experience. Sometimes having experience is now a liability. We're going to be entering an era where we're going to have young managers, 35 and under, managing people that are 45 and older. So this creates a new set of collaboration among different generations, and that in education is going to be a significant challenge. So welcome to the future. Welcome to what we're thinking is going to be AI connecting education and work in a totally different manner. So we have a lot of news that are saying, AI is going to become a challenge. Students are going to be copying, that is going to be cheating. What do we do with that? So we have all of these newspaper ads that you're seeing, this news, like this, the worst thing that could happen. AI has biases, has a lot of issues. And you basically have two ways of looking at it. You either read this vertically or horizontally. You are an optimist or a pessimist. And in that sense, what we are seeing is how AI is able to solve challenges that we couldn't do it alone. We couldn't do it with our human perspective. And just recently, I saw this new AI headmaster in a school actually happening in the UK. We have the first robot AI headmaster in a school. This is not science fiction. This is what's happening. This is how it's reaching education. We also work with McKinsey in learning about what they call the hybrid intelligence. How do you educate for hybrid intelligence? This is a painter that basically starts a canvas and has programmed a robot that complements her painting, and it's able to read and it's able to expand the impact of a painter. So all of these professions, all of these ideas, where is it that artificial intelligence is better than humans? In connecting dots that were not connected in the past. Humanities, science, everything is now connected. So this multidisciplinary view is not reaching education because we still have faculties, we still have subjects, we still have this idea that an area of humanities is totally separate from engineering or from science. And artificial intelligence is connecting areas that we didn't connect in the past. Just as an example, we have these signals of the future that we're constantly analyzing, and we're seeing how different professions come to areas that are totally unsuspected, and how you have to become a node in a system, how you need to be connected. And this is why Collabs and EdLatam make a lot of sense, because over the years, we have created strong networks of topics, people, changes, and this network now has a different capability. And this is where Collabs and EdLatam will build together. This is an example of what we're doing in education. For example, this is the syllabi of a new university that is coming, that is connecting human areas, technology areas, is connecting subjects and topics and people in a way that is totally different. In that sense, what we're monitoring is the number of engineers, the number of people that are around the world moving into AI, and what does that mean for the future of education, for the future of business. Now, what happens is Latin America seems empty. Latin America, Africa, some places in Asia, you don't see the level of activity that is happening around the world in AI. And that is the mission of EdLatam, to bring Latin America into this discussion, to connect with Collabs, to connect with people like Michael, like Gary, and the speakers that we have here, to build this network and to bring AI. This is what is looking at the professions of, the knowledge-based professions. This is what happened in Booz Allen. Now you have 12% more activities in a consulting job. You have 25% faster resolution of problems. You have 40% better quality. And this is probably one of the top knowledge functions, the consulting work. So if that happens at that level, imagine what would happen in all companies. This is what Arthur Doolittle is looking at, what sort of humans, what sort of jobs we're going to have. We're going to have the analyst, the scientist, the artist, the craftsman. And this is what companies are going to need, a combination, a collaboration among different roles, different sort of people, but always complemented with technology. This is also an example of a company that we invested in Brazil that is called Motrix. And basically what they do is they paint an image, and based on the storytelling that any student builds on that image, they are able to capture, analyze, and predict what are the capabilities, what is the vocabulary, what sort of learning path they should follow. This is how education is going to be impacted. In a way, we have created an observatory connecting where is it that students are looking for, what type of solutions, what type of offering. We are also monitoring the personal brand for most of the leaders in education. What are the topics they are connecting? We see everything as a network. We see everything connected, and we see everything as collaboration. So in the other end, we need to become more humans. And this is something that we found in Copenhagen last year, the human library, where you don't rent a book, you rent a human, and you do it only to begin to unjudge the world. We saw an example of a mother of a recently transgender daughter that was, going through the whole emotion of changing her life. And this mother had to rent someone to explain how to deal with that challenge. So what happens in education is we're going to be augmented with technology, but we need to become more human. And this is exactly what we're aiming in EdLatam. And hopefully this conversation is the beginning of a lot of discussions, a lot of collaboration, and building these networks that are going to make us change and transform from now on. Thank you, Michael.
Beautiful talk, Fernando. So inspiring. Love your innovator's mindset. And you're like, add AI, let's do this. So, okay, next we have Doug Hoholen. We're on time too, just so impressed. Doug is a futurist and a keynote speaker who worked at Nokia Motorola. He was wearing the shirt for 33 years, specializing in strategy, business development, go-to-market strategy, and engineering. His focus at Next Collabs is leading teams to stay abreast of ethics, governance, policy, and regulation. So important, so much innovational opportunities. And at the same time, we need to have safeguards, and we need to do this responsibly. And we need to kind of shape this for beneficial AI for humanity. His talk will share the pragmatic insights into leveraging AI responsibly within your organization. Over to you, Doug, and responsible AI.
Well, thank you so much. Why think about responsible AI is to thrive and to be successful in the age of AI. There's McKinsey says by 2030, there'll be $13 trillion impact. But as Elon Musk said, that he had to, like over hundreds of agencies he has to be focused on as he's rolling out this technology. McKinsey talks about $10 trillion in automated knowledge working, advanced robots, and autonomous vehicles, even by 2025. So there's this incredible opportunity. So this is very exciting, and I'm sure that's why most of you are here. It's estimated that 2% GDP growth will happen, similar to the cellular industry, which I did for 33 years, where, for every 1% or 10% increase of cellular, subscriber growth, you got a 1% GDP growth in developing countries. So just like the cellular industry had amazing growth and opportunity, but there's also risk and rewards. So, the saying, move fast, break things, but I also add pay lots of fines. So if you had to deal with GDPR, the data privacy of Europe, the winner of the largest fine is actually 1.2 billion euros. And so there's lots of fines out there because people move fast, broke things, but they had to pay lots of fines. So one reason we're here at Next Collabs is on education and how to use these tools responsible. So in August, we did this. We had 300 people sign up for a similar event like this. We put together a survey. Actually, 39 people responded, asking, where do you feel like you're at in terms of AI? And so you can, as you're here, think about where do you fit. You think on, how well do you on a scale from 1 to 10? Actually, what we're finding is only in March there was only 14% of adults who were using these tools. In July, Pew Research did the same thing and found only 20% or 18% of adults were using these tools, 16% for work, and only 15% found them extremely useful, 20% found them very useful. And the goal of Next Collabs is to help people, to learn to use these tools, and then to find it extremely useful or very useful for their workflows. So about 4 years ago, I started this blog on when the age of AI, the century of the billions, right? So we had 1 billion cell phones in 2002, smartphones in 2011. So I started doing this. In 2022, we actually had 5 billion people using smartphone technology around the world, which was very exciting. And then it's like, okay, well, when will generative AI come along? And so I wrote this blog and said, by next year, we'll have 1 billion people using this technology. We need to make sure that they use it responsibly. I think at least 100 million people will be paying for it. 5 years later, I think there'll be 5 billion people using this technology, 5% of the world's GDP. So how can we focus to make sure that they're used responsibly? How can we use the training tools so we can help people use these tools responsibly? Of course, OpenAI is one of the leaders in this. They had 1.7 billion people visiting their website. That's the size of LinkedIn right now. So they said they had 100 million weekly users. I also heard somewhere they may even have closer to 200 million people using this. But executives are concerned about this. In fact, Boston Consulting Group said 50% of executives discourage the use of generative AI. And actually, if you don't understand how to use this very powerful tool, I would be cautious as well. Because, how to use it responsibly, how do you make sure that your privacy is in place, that you don't have cybersecurity, that you're doing all the proper things, that you don't pay lots of fines when you implement these tools. So this is why, webinars like this are so critical, so you can start thinking about responsible AI. One other thing is the reason why I'm so excited about AI just is that Harvard Business School, Boston Consulting Group did a study of 700 consultants, and they showed that if they took a control group of these consultants, so they're high class people, and but they found that their quality on average was a level 4, but they improved their quality using just GPT without even training, and then you add training to it, so you actually improved it even a little bit better. But 40% improvement, 25% greater speed. So they gave them 18 different tasks. And you had 90-minute sequence of these tasks and said, how well can you do your workflows? What work are you currently doing? And if you add AI, how can you do this better? And so what they found is that everyone becomes a top 20% Boston Consulting Group consultant by using this AI tool. So amplifying the abilities of everyone is what they're doing. And the other comment was the worst AI of these consultants were we use. So as AI keeps getting better and better, amplifying your ability to use these tools gets better and better as well. So responsible AI. The OECD AI principles came out in May 2019 to promote AI innovation, trustworthy, and respect for human values. Looked at transparency, explainability, robustness, security, safety, accountability. So this is why these executives were cautious about it, but it's really important that if you understand how to be using AI responsibly, you can amplify your ability incredibly. So Deloitte they did an analysis of 1,600 AI policies. So there's lots of policies out there. So, this is kind of challenging, but, that's why you need companies like Next Collabs to help you understand responsible AI. There's this paper that comes out every year from the Center of AI and Digital Policy, looks at 75 different countries. How well do they work within the OECD AI principles? Do they endorse it? Are they implementing it? And so forth. The United States, unfortunately, is down at a tier 3. So hopefully we can get that better. To Canada is tier 1. So we need to be more like Canada. So if you go to the document, it's 1,200 pages or 1,100 pages plus, and like it talks about what's going on in the United States. I looked at Brazil, what they're doing, what Mexico is doing, how the different countries like in the US and EU are working together on how do we work together as policy. So we just make it all so confusing that it hurts innovation. That's going to be the important thing as well. So there's these working groups. I attended the OECD Working and Network Experts on AI OECD group, looking at how are you going to roll out this technology. So if you're interested, at least follow, if you click on this link when you get to the site, you can see who all is involved in these policies and making sure that as your company is using these technologies, you're using them responsibly. One of the things to follow, just like GDPR, if your company had to deal with GDPR, is likely you're going to have to deal with the EU AI Act. The Brussels effect, gets rolled out, and the EU AI Act aligns with OECD and G20 AI principles. As well. So again, move fast, break things, pay lots of fines. There's just as many fines with the EU AI Act as with GDPR. So just understanding how to use these tools. The thing is EU AI Act has not yet been implemented, been passed into law, but it's expected it passes Trilog 5, that it will be passed, and then you have 24 months before the fines kick in. So you have time, but you're going to need to use all that time to implement it properly as well. So the EU AI Act looks at, unacceptable risk, high risk, and low risk, and you pay more fines if you're in the high risk category. So if you're in this high risk areas, you need to make sure you're focused on how do you use AI responsibly. Here in the United States, we started off with the Blueprint Bill of Rights. Again, it lines up very well with the OECD on safe and effective systems, algorithm discriminations, data privacy, notice and explainability, and then human fallback. Keeping that human in the loop is so absolutely critical. The President Biden's administration, they just came out with an executive order of 110 pages or so on how to roll out these principles. Actually, this law firm EY came out with 8 principles of priorities and principles. They had 4 high-power people talking about workflows. What I did is I put the Executive Act in this GPT bot. And created this. If you can click on the link and you can go to the bot. And I said, okay, give me a list of principles and priorities. And it's actually interesting. It gave me 10 of these. And then I said, okay, compare the list that you gave me for GPT bot to this principles. And, it came out very similar between the 2 lists. So there's different rankings around the world. So no matter where you're at in this world, you can look at, where things are going, in terms of the talent, infrastructure, operating, research and development, and so forth. So at the end, to echo what Gary's saying, is mindset, stay up to date on AI policies, skill set, understand the different countries' ethical standards, and understand where they're changing, and then tool sets, making sure that you have the tools in place to execute on responsible AI. And with that, thank you for your time.
Thanks so much, Doug. Beautiful presentation. Great overview. So important to get an understanding of that in real time as you implement AI. Okay, over to Marty Constant, MBA. She's a workplace futurist, AI workshop creator, and author of the book, Activate Your Agile Career. Marty will provide examples on how individuals are using generative AI for advancement of their careers, products, services, and organizations. And she recently termed the term AI agility, augmenting AI and agility, how to strategically adapt to this AI movement and moment. Welcome, Marty, and over to you on workplace AI agility. I think you're on mute.
Welcome, everybody. It's always humbling to follow Doug Hohulin because he talks about tempering our enthusiasm. All of us at Next Collabs are pretty much optimists, but we bring in reality with that. So we're optimists with a dose of reality. And as Michael said, putting two ideas together, AI and agility, is a way of thinking about how we can manage our workflows so that we could be more productive. From workflow, we've worked 20 years ago, we worked a lot slower, to workflow. So what is AI agility? Created a definition: a curious mindset guided by response to change and technology adoption, optimizing creativity, productivity, and multiplying your time and impact. And I added this for Doug: using AI responsibly. So between 2020 and 2023, we've had AI companies way before this time. Depending on where you get the stats, we have about 58,000 AI companies. And if you think about every large company on the planet today, we are adding AI to it. It's like Michael said, AI plus. Wanted to know who's using AI. So went to an Institute for the Future event and they had 500 people, pretty decent sample. On a scale of 1 to 5, how is AI showing up in your work life? I was the person in the chat asking, what are you using it for? The vast majority of you are starting to experiment. Aggressive adoption. I think Doug had talked about 14%, 12%. Real aggressive adoption back in September, which is a while ago, was about 7%. Some of them say 14, depending on where you're looking. Who's using it? Men are using it a little bit more than women right now, but women are using it, more in certain ways. So the regularly for work. So the dark blue at the bottom, they're using it a little bit more regularly for work. This is the McKinsey data on this. I'm sure this is very dynamic and it is changing every day. What industries are using it? Technology, media, telecom, financial, business, legal, healthcare, pharma. We have Harvey Castro that's in the audience today, and he's just actually absolutely using it as an MD in a variety of ways. And then what are the generations that are using it? People that are a little bit younger are using it a little bit more. The middle generation is actually using it a little bit less than the generation before. This is data from McKinsey. I formulated 2 AI future of work trends. There's lots of trends. There's lots of 2024 lists, but I thought these were interesting considering what Gary said with skill set, mindset, tool set. I'm going to focus on skill set, why it's so important for skills, because that is the path to productivity. Think of this as the great reskilling. We had the great resignation. We had the great return to work, maybe. And it is about skill set over roles. We have 2 seminal books here, Upskilling and Reskilling, Work Without Jobs by Robin J. Suthausен from Mercer, and The Next Rules of Work by Gary Bowles. I refer to these books every week. A book is the most condensed form of content on the planet. So the skills that got you here won't get you there. As we said, AI plus is going to be important. I talked to an engineer recently and I said, how do you go about your work? And she said, well, you basically have to figure out your skill sets. Those were her words, not mine. How you think and apply them to your situation. So this is what we're doing right now. HBR had an article on reskilling in the age of AI. It had some stats. This is a little bit older article, so we'll see where this is. Within 15 to 20 years, new automation, 14% of the world's jobs will change, and then they'll dramatically change another 32%. The World Economic Forum, a few years ago, this particular data had more new jobs being invented than old jobs just 2 years ago. And so now they're saying, wait a minute, we're looking at the data, this global data a little differently. 23% of jobs are expected to change by 2027, 69 million new jobs created, 83 million eliminated. People often ask me, Marty, you're a futurist, what's going to happen? Are the jobs going to go away? We are still in the middle of this and figuring it out. 50% of employees will need reskilling by 2025 to embrace AI trends, World Economic Forum. As you know, Doug had said, this was actually data from one of his. He found Santiago Valderrama. I did not. He said, AI won't replace you. A person using AI will. I worked at a conference, actually presented at a conference recently of learning and development professionals. And I met somebody from a large global tire manufacturer. And I thought, how are skills changing? Like, how is it changing on the line? You know, how do you make tires? And he said, Marty, it's amazing. We have had to reskill. It's not upskilling and saying, oh, make you a better person on the manufacturing line. It's totally reskilling because now we're using 3D printing for these tires. In 6 months, we will no longer need prompt engineers. It will be part of our work, just like the internet. Everything that we learned to date, just like we learned graphical user interfaces, just like we learned browser technology. And the second trend was this idea of augmented working. It is totally in support of the AI Plus. AI amplifies your productivity. You can save between 30 minutes a day and 4 hours a day. I'm just going to show you a quick use case that shows about 5 hours that was saved. AI plus you. Call it the AI of everything. The AI duet, you plus technology. If you want to think about architecture, as Michael does, we might think less is more with Mies van der Rohe, a gifted foundational architect. So AI's path to productivity multiplies your time by 5, 10, 20 or more. We have use cases. These are the top use cases, but it's changing every day. We just had something in the chat about aligning, looking at data from planets and systems and making sense of it. Marketing and sales, product and service development is huge, and service operations. This was something from Ernst & Young, EY, and you know what's happening if you think about responsible AI? Fake is going to be an issue, but we have great examples here.
Mainstream. But for many business leaders, the question remains, how can I better leverage Gen AI and emerging tech to more effectively run my business, to accelerate our speed to market, optimize processes, minimize the administrative pain on my team?
So the point there is she's an executive within EY, and they're using it for automating and using AI for much communication and using it throughout 650 plus notifications. They've got things going on in the metaverse. So it's used a lot in the marketing realm. Workflow example, won't go into too much detail because I'm just wrapping up here, but this was a learning and development case. It's write the prompt for your strategy, and then create a 2-hour training course for banking professionals. Mind you, in L&D, learning and development, you don't necessarily know about everybody's profession, and it is your role to educate them about something like customer experience. Why is it important? Well, you have to start at the beginning. What is customer experience? Why is it important in the financial services industry? A chained prompt will do you well. There's lots of systems. Of course, we have the GPTs that launched recently. It reminds me of the Baby Yoda coming out and being super, super smart. Well, the GPTs are going to add a whole big thing from ChatGPT. So act as a trainer, write the objectives, and act as a designer to do them. You want more? In a chained prompt strategy, think like Socrates. Ask another question. Text to visual prompts. It's one of my favorite use cases of it. marketing, content creation, research and article summary, social media, blog creation, ad development, promotional campaigns. This was one of my favorite pieces, prompt elephant in the workplace. Sometimes the simplest prompts will do well for you. This was showing Aristotle with a modern laptop, presenting to a group of listeners. So what's next? Identify the workflows, integrate AI with your current body of work, learn new skills, and AI systems integration. Back to you, Michael.
Beautiful presentation, Marty. And just you get that AI agility energy in your presentation and your graphics. Absolutely love it. And by the way, we teach this workflow that Marty's kind of shown here of ChatGPT to DALL-E 3 to Canva. She does it so well. And we teach this in our next learning labs. I'll probably put the link in the next talk so you know about it. Okay, over to Ivan Hernandez. Ivan is a globally renowned fintech leader and CEO of Rocket Code, an AI software company, and a Next Collab strategic partner. His team is driving exponential growth through tech expertise, visionary commitment, and developing AI integrations for enterprise. His talk is on enterprise LLMs and opportunities to automate your core business with AI. Over to you, Ivan.
Thank you very much, Michael, and thank you all for the opportunity to be here. We are together now for exploring actually the topic of the forefront of our technology and economic evolution. The transformative world of generative AI, especially within Latin America, it's our focus. And today we will be on the dual facets of the AI, and that's basically one of the most important topics that I want to discuss with you today. Is that AI? It's having two different races. It's about the core technology of the AI, which is the generative AI creation, and as we know, the big companies are actually investing massively amounts of money developing this. We have the last example of Gronk, of the X of Elon Musk, it has been built in 2 months, but with a massive amount of capital. It's very intensive capital that raise. That race is about creating the foundational models, creating the GPTs, creating the open sources, foundational models for the LLMs and the NPLs in order to have this technology available horizontally for everyone. That's one of the races, and my colleagues here have been talking about those generative AI creations and technology. But let me talk about a second race that we have been very involved in. That second race. That second race is about implementation, because as we already see on the presentations of my colleagues, there's a lot of discrepancy between the actual technology and how we are actually implementing for businesses. So the second race is implementation. It's to find those real use cases where the companies are being, where the companies have the opportunity to be impact in a positive way for all these AI technology that is actually on the market. So the implementation race is about to understand all the emerging technologies that are on the market and how to use them in a proper way on companies. So the real use cases are the second race, and that's the one that I'm going to address on these 10 minutes that I have. So let's talk about industries, and our experience is in Latin America. So I'm going to be very specific on Latin America, but let's talk about finance, and let's talk about finance in Mexico, which is one of our expertises. The baseline, we have to understand the baseline that we are looking for. In developed markets like US, AI generative technology, it's been focused on security, on privacy, on how to not being sued by the content that you are creating. But let's talk about Mexico and let's talk about finance. Our baseline is a person, an agent in a branch in a specific town in Mexico that has bad practices. The baseline is to compete with that guy that has probably an arrangement with someone outside of the branch of the bank, and it's going to be very insecure. So that's the baseline, and that's why we are competing, and the AI generative implementations are competing with that baseline. So our concern in developing markets are very different from the developed markets. So that's why generative AI has been it has been a lot of buzz about how to implement in the specific specific industries like finance. The second thing about finance is the hyper personalization that users are expecting, and the discrepancy as well for the companies that are actually trying to make an effort to understand their customers. So the baseline, again, it's very low. So the companies in developing markets are trying to understand their users and trying to understand ways to relate with them and trying to understand tools and technology to be near those customers, but they don't have the opportunity. They don't have the muscles, the capabilities. That's why there's a lot of middle agents in all the finance industry in developing markets. And all the middle agents are the ones that are actually leveraging AI for that relationship to changing and to reshaping that relationship with users. Again, it's a race for implementation. It's not about who's having like the best foundational model. It's about who is having the best real use case and how it's actually impact the business. And let's talk about as well for healthcare. Healthcare is another industry that is as well that has a lot of opportunity in developing markets. Healthcare providers as well do not have any real connection, any real interaction and relationship with their customers, with their patients in this case. So the data and the potential identification of health risks and all other possibilities on the healthcare industry as well are created by middle agents. So the combination of those middle agents and the startups and the entrepreneurships that are actually leveraging AI to understand better the user are the ones who are winning that second race that I'm too focused on. And let's talk about corporates and enterprises as well in Latin America. As mentioned before, most of the enterprises in Latin America have the complexity that they have headquarters in other places, headquarters probably in developed markets. So the differentiation that is affecting the real use cases and the users are the differentiations that have the headquarters probably in a developed market and the local branch and the local company that needs to be in this race. And let's talk about, let me jump into this one in terms of the time that we have. And let's talk about this architecture, because it's very important for me, for you to deliver this message about how we can actually implement. And we have created different architectures for companies. In this model, I'm showing you the orchestrator. The orchestrator has have the opportunity to manage the conversation and the relationship with different components of AI. As my colleagues as well mentioned, the AI generative technology is not just about conversational chatbots as we understand it, but it's also about how to interact with different components of AI, data analysis, emotions analysis, conversational interpretation, behavioral of the users, and as well hallucination containment. And all of these components that are created with AI could be integrated in just one architecture with different orchestrators. So just in a nutshell, this is the kind of architecture that has been implemented in enterprises. So it's not just about, again, it's not just about the foundational models. Actually, I think in that second race, the AI agnosticism is going to be very important for those real use cases, and implementing these kind of architectures is going to be the key for impact the businesses in a positive way. And finally, the opportunities for business success are huge in Latin America. We have been working with many of these enterprises, and we had the opportunity to improve their efficiency by automate processes with AI in an autonomous way. We are we are actually educating these companies in order to have the mindset, the tools, and the skills for leveraging this technology. We also help them to have better decision making with information and with comprehension and predictive models of the information that they have. And finally, we have been we have detected the opportunity to enhance customer experience. As I said, the hyper personalization is going to be very important, and now we have the tools to do it. So that's like the basically the main message. And back to you, Michael, and thank you for the time.
Beautiful presentation. Thank you so much, Ivan. And, you know, as an architect and someone who builds cities, I've been fascinated with just architecture and the whole kind of stack from foundations and the infrastructure through to the build. And I'm just as fascinated by your presentation and all the architecture that goes in under the hood with LLMs, et cetera. So really appreciate your presentation. Okay, over to Roy Vela, MBA, a digital strategy expert, professional speaker, an advisor and consultant to enterprises large and small. To complete the facets of the diamond, we're coming close to the end of this showcase. We're going to zoom out and look at the very, very big picture, the kind of comprehensive overview of what is happening at the very, very big scale. And so Roy will help us understand the profound transformation we're all undergoing and what lies ahead by exploring the abrupt shift that we're all experiencing in real time from linear growth to that hockey stick moment or exponential curves. So over to you, Roy, on the big picture.
Thank you, Michael. And I want to apologize in advance as I'm going to fly through this a bit quickly, but I would welcome any questions in the chat if I skip over stuff that doesn't make sense. So exponentials everywhere. So let's dive into it here. So as you already heard Gary kick us off, and I'm going to kind of round us out, mindset, skill set, tool set, and, you know, peak performance really happens in the intersection in the middle of those three. And we're going to talk a bit about how that happens and how the exponential curves relate. So looking all the way back, you know, the first tool use of humans about 3 million years ago, first controlled use of fire and cooking was about 2 million years ago, and pretty much everything else happened in the last moment, right? I mean, from agriculture all the way up to CRISPR gene editing. If you zoom out a little bit, you know, looking at world GDP, you know, capitalism started, you know, very recently, and you'll notice that this curve is going to recur. It was in Gary's presentation and it will remain in mine a lot. You know, capitalism was a couple hundred years ago and we've gone exponential again, and technology even more so. So the printing press in the 1400s, the telescope in the 1600s, steam engine, telegraph, light bulb, telephone, man on the moon in 69, and then look at all the innovation in the last 50 or so years. It's pretty miraculous what we've seen, and that keeps applying. So if you look at artificial intelligence, as training computation has grown, the foundational AI models have become exponentially more powerful. And again, this is part of the reality is that AI has been around for a while, right? So we started playing with it in the 50s and 60s. And again, the exponential curve has taken hold, and recently you're feeling it. And LLMs, you know, I mean, everyone says ChatGPT, but there are plenty. There are hundreds of LLMs out there right now. People know the big guys. They know Bard and ChatGPT and the rest like that, Llama. But there are lots and lots of them out there that have different numbers of parameters, different access, different rules. But that continues to grow. So I want you to zoom out and think about this as kind of the fourth revolution, right? Our industrial revolution around coal, steam, and rail, the information revolution around electricity, fuel engine, and chemicals, the connectivity revolution, which was the last one, around digital computation and commerce, putting mobile devices into every hand, and now the AI revolution, which has really, you know, accelerated everything. This is not news from the 60s. It's been on a logarithmic curve again. We had about 1 million mainframes, 10 million mini computers, 100 million PCs, 1 billion desktop, about 10 billion mobile internet, right? And so why AI is moving so fast is simply because we have high-speed connectivity in every hand everywhere, which changes the dynamic of penetration and how it works. Again, speed, Doug alluded to this a little bit, the number of years to reach 1 billion users. It took over a century for the landline. It took less than a decade for smartphones. ChatGPT had 100 million users within 2 months of launching. And compared to just regular apps, that is exceedingly fast. This pace of change is leading us towards, the singularity that was also mentioned earlier by Gary. We are reaching a point where we already passed the brain power of a mouse on the right-hand side in 2015. We assume that this year we're going to surpass the brain power in humans, and by 2045 surpass the brain power of all humans, which is a little scary, a little shocking, but where we are today. And the reason it's shocking is this: English is not very good at articulating trillions, billions, and millions here. 10 to the 12th, 10 to the 9th, 10 to the 6th. Our intuition around it is bad. And I can prove it when you look at seconds. 1 million seconds, about 12 days. 1 billion seconds is 32 years. 1 trillion seconds takes you up to nearly 32,000 years, right? So, because of English, it feels linear, but it's not linear. It's an exponential curve like everything else, going from days to decades to millennia, and it's pretty shocking. I love this GIF from Mother Jones. It is showing you how long until computers have the same power as the human brain. You'll notice the drops start in the 40s, and pretty much not until 2015-ish do you even notice that the lake is filling. But then all of a sudden, from 2015 on, and this is, by the way, this is Moore's law. This is computing power doubling every 18 months. And this is why AI is shocking to most of us, that it felt like nothing was happening, and then what was an empty lake filled almost instantly. And it is the exponential curve that we're living on. I'm not going to walk through all of this. I'll direct your eyes to the bottom right corner in performance, right? So this is showing AI surpassing humans at a number of tasks, and the rate at which humans are being surpassed at new tasks is increasing. And just the list there: handwriting recognition, speech recognition, image recognition, reading comprehension, language understanding, common sense completion, grade school math, and code generation. And the last one, code generation, is that orange line that is nearly vertical, right? So as you can see, over time, the lines are getting more and more vertical. The passing human performance is becoming nearly instantaneous as compute data and algorithms dynamically increase. So we're about here on the innovation curve, and we are entering the age of sort of AI everywhere, going from narrow AI through generative into a widening AI. This is a sample of companies, AI companies, as of this past March. Between March and now, it increased dramatically, probably double this. And then OpenAI had their dev day, and I'm not sure how many of these guys survived because OpenAI subsumed a lot of the functionality inside. So the hype cycle, Gartner, does this hype cycle for a bunch of different industries. You probably have seen this. This is the 2022. I would say the highlight I want to make here is, if you notice, there's only 2 orange triangles, autonomous vehicles and AGI, that are more than 10 years. Everything else on this curve is predicted to be less than 10 years away. Again, exponential, right? It's just crazy how fast everything is moving. And a huge number is light blue, which is 2 to 5 years, which is incredible. And this is a great example that I saw that I love. Between Midjourney in March 2022 and Midjourney in March 2023, you went from an impressionistic kind of painting to almost photorealism at the bottom. I mean, that's, in computer terms, that's absolutely staggering progress. It's incredible. So the use cases, a lot of you know this, and a lot of our time today has been spent on this, customer experience, supply chain, HR, fraud, knowledge creation, R&D, analytics, real-time ops, customer service, risk management, customer insight, pricing, promotion, you name it. If we put our brains to something, we can also apply AI to it as well. The productivity, this is, I'm not going to hash through this too much in detail, but increasing the productivity of knowledge workers, 55% in completing coding tasks from human to human plus AI, generating images and models, as you already know, a 10-fold increase in coding productivity. I mean, it's staggering, the stuff. If you know a coder, it's unbelievable the coding prowess that AI adds to the equation. Knowledge worker productivity is increasing dramatically. I mean, I think part of the shock is that we expected robots to take manufacturing jobs, and instead we're finding AI is taking knowledge worker jobs. And so a lot of the shock and awe is because of that. So, you know, we're moving from data at the bottom through information, knowledge, wisdom, and power, right? Where we have machines that can actually go beyond just data collection and input and move on to context and interpretation. So massive change ahead. I am not going to read this slide to you, but there's just tons and tons of things happening. It's a stunning, we're spring training. It's the early days of a massive shift in a number of regards across the economics frame. And I would say we have to rely on Darwin. It's not the strongest, not the most intelligent, but the ones most responsive to change that are going to survive. And the fact that you're in this Zoom indicates to me that you're realizing there's a change and are trying to respond to it, which is fantastic. So, and we're approaching this singularity, as Gary mentioned again, you know, where frankly, you know, non-human intellect and non-human intellectual capability is going to pass into human capability. And we don't know what that means yet, frankly. I mean, this idea of transhumans and implanting things in our brains and interacting with machines in a variety of ways is definitely coming, and we just don't know what the impacts of that are. And I always end with this duckling because sometimes I freak people out, and it's a little scary out there, but it's okay. Keep calm and paddle on. And I will pass it back. Oh, so my question is this: are you going to be the guy who's actually enjoying the tsunami that's coming and surfing the wave, or get plowed over by it? And so being prepared is the most important thing.
Great talk. Thanks so much, Roy. Amazing wave too. I love your wave. And you know, if one thing like 2022 to 2023, if ChatGPT 3.5 was the only thing that happened in that calendar year, we'd still be like, wow, that was an amazing, but it's already gone updated four. It just keeps going week to week. Okay, so finally we're going to bring it home and bring this to a conclusion with Brad Rochefort, who is our Chief Strategy Officer at Next Collabs, leading workshops and consultations on the future of work plus AI tools. He's an author and speaker. He's got a master's degree in professional writing and a business degree. Brad's education and experience helps bridge your ideas to your audience, developing your blueprints for 2024. And Brad will help us understand, like, what's next? How do we get on this, Brad? Over to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael. What a great opportunity to be here and talk to the 70 or 80 of you. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you to all the other speakers. The purpose of today is to show you what's next through the partnership of EdLATAM and Next Collabs, where we talk about AI tools, Latin America, and you. And I think it's important to hear that to seek is to discover. And today you have all chosen to seek out something. And I think in asking the question, what's out there, you will discover what's out there. We talk about, here's my slide 2. There we go. We talk about what does Next Collabs do. We do 3 things. We do skills and training. If at any point, any of you or anyone you know needs skills or training, we do them in groups. We do them individually. We do them towards what you need. We also do bespoke AI integrations with our teams and partners, including some of the people on this call. We can find a way to integrate AI into your business, and we also offer a global AI community. And those are the reasons to come and speak to Next Collabs and to EdLATAM if you need skills, training, some AI in your business, or the global community. I did some research on Deloitte. As you can tell, our group, we like research, we like data, we like facts. And what I saw is that there's key factors for what Deloitte calls global Latinas, for companies or organizations to reach the globe, and that is market leadership at home. And what we're hoping to do with Next Collabs and EdLATAM is help you lead in your market using the latest tools, whatever they might be. And as you can see, they change and they're changing. Further to our 5-point list, acquisitions and joint ventures. Having the stronger company and understanding AI will help you be the one that joins or acquires and not the one that is acquired, depending on your goal. We're going to help you lead with corporate governance practices. As you saw with Doug's talk, Doug knows what he's talking about and the way to navigate the very uncertain seas of AI. You need someone with some sea legs on how those waves are changing. You saw Roy's waves. Roy's waves are coming. And Doug is the captain you want at the wheel to navigate corporate governance. You want qualified executives. We saw from Marty the way to be agile and to be that qualified executive. And then you want access to capital markets. And collectively, we're going to help you find the money and the team and the way through these waves that are certainly coming. And I'll just, broadly go through what I understand to be the major economic centers or industries specifically to Latin America. It's retail, trade, and we're going to add AI, as Gary lightly teased that Michael says, add AI. We've added AI to these things to show you that you can have personalized, and you can have inventory and you can have consumer behavior. Personalized marketing is where AI drives the way you segment your customers. And we're looking at ways for any company that approaches Next Collabs that we can do that in a very specific way. You can manage your inventory. You can use AI to show the demand forecast. How much should I keep in stock? How much do I need? These are real solutions to real problems. And then we're going to observe with analytics the behavior of your consumers using machine learning algorithms, and you can get an analysis of your shopping patterns. I'm going to go through about 9 more of these, and the driving point for anyone on this call or anyone listening is that AI is a lot more than a chat bot and some images of a cat in a kitchen with a wizard hat on. It sounds funny, but there is so much more to understand about AI tools. And what Next Collabs focuses on is the practical application of learning them, being agile with them, obeying the law or paying large fines, and seeing the approaching wave as it comes so that you're prepared for it. And as you can see, I'm going to go through some examples here. These are, again, Latin American industries where you're strongest as a group of nations or as a collection of resources in information technology and AI. As I understand it, data analytics matters. And what we're looking at are the platforms that help you analyze that. Security matters, right? We're looking at the way you can detect threats and respond to them. There are new tech solutions that are ever evolving. And our teammates like Yvonne, he knows how to create these tech solutions to develop frameworks that are creative and they're innovative. Oil and gas is big in Latin America. As you all know, sometimes it's 1 or 2 large companies. At the same time, there are subsidiary companies that work in oil and gas. There's exploration and using AI tools to interpret seismic data. You could be a partner of these companies if you're first to market or first to make yourself known to market, or as Roy said yesterday on our call, execution matters. There's predictive maintenance in oil and gas using the Internet of Things, which is adding the internet to a thermostat or to a gauge or a timer or any physical object, and understanding through artificial intelligence the maintenance prediction so that you can have always up-to-date systems and always working systems. And of course, safety matters in any industry, but especially in oil and gas, monitoring for operational safety. And again, these are intuitive, but they bear saying. And for the next 3 minutes, I'll just go through about 6 more of these, which is finance and financial technology. Again, our partners, Ivan Hernandez and his team, they specialize in some of this, where you can, not specifically for what I know they do, but I believe they can do it. They can create you bots that might help you with algorithms and trading. They can help you detect fraud or any activities that are of a concern. And what they can do is they can find ways to give personalized financial advice or insurance advice, or just part of that pipeline. I really want to emphasize that the solutions that your company needs, we will create now. And by the time we create it, you'll need it. And if you wait until it comes, the wave, as you saw from Roy, is just going to keep coming. So we can do risk assessment. We can talk about agriculture with precision farming, crop health monitoring, optimizing resources. And again, these are Latin American industries of healthcare, to diagnose, to treat, to administer, manufacturing, to maintain, to supply chain, to quality control, utilities, to manage grids and demand forecasting, to get energy that is renewable and integrate that into your system. And of course, education, which is important as we understand participating in the EdLatAm call, Education Latin America, to have personalized learning where AI drives adaptive platforms. You could even automate grading that you can use to assess and understand. And then you can allocate resources. So you could schedule tools and you could supply forecasting. And then as a screenwriter as well, I like entertainment, so I put that in there. You can help with content creation, understanding consumer preference analysis, and the new digital experiences. That's a blitz through what I understand to be the dollars of Latin America and the ways your mind can open up and say, by the time I engage with a company like Next Collabs and their partners, and we explore the solution, not only will the solution be real, we will need it to surf the wave that Roy said, to be as agile as Marty said, to be as compliant as Doug said, and on and on. And then, of course, as Fernando here brought it home, the importance of education is paramount. And together we're educating ourselves on what teammates like Yvonne can do. They're the meat and potatoes team members who will bring those solutions home. So Michael, back to you.
Wow. Tour de force comes to mind when I just think of like the entire kind of showcase. Thanks to all our speakers, kind of blown away, so comprehensive and like maybe dizzying, but like I think we got some major touch points in there. And you see the kind of panoply of opportunities when you add AI to pretty much everything related to your business and your individual workflows. So we're going to open it up in the last few minutes to a Q&A. And keep this very kind of loose. And Juanita, if you could actually like surface a few questions that you might think, or if someone wants to raise their hand, and we'll bring it up and we can have a general discussion with our team of experts.
I love that the chat was super active and everybody was answering the different questions that we were receiving during the symposium. So I would love to invite someone to raise the hand and take the mic.
I guess a good starting point might be, you know, where are you using AI, or where might you use AI in your industry?
Harvey Castro has been super active in the participation. Tamara Flores, Camilo Vergara.
I mean, Harvey, maybe Harvey's part of our team at Next Collabs as well. And maybe Harvey, you could just give a quick preview of, you know, AI in healthcare.
Yeah, just the skinny is, you know, it takes a true understanding of healthcare and HIPAA and GDPR and the guardrails that are there, and to how to implement both. I'll just use a quick example. Here we are in this conference. We have the United States and we have Mexico and the rest of Latin America, and we have two different cultures. One example that I use in my healthcare talks is, why not use AI to help me communicate with you better? So someone in Mexico may have a certain saying that if I use that same saying in Colombia might be insulting in Colombia. And so why not use ChatGPT to be more sensitive and use my words correctly? And so big picture, as we sit here and we all start asking questions, I really, you know, I see like the bell curve when I talk. You know, we have some people that are just starting, and then we have someone like Roy that is probably like creating this stuff on the side. And so big picture, it's really hard to do these talks, but the more we unite, the more we talk to each other, the more our AI IQ starts going up. And as that goes up, we all start benefiting from each other. And so that's why I think this meeting today is such a key, important part for all of us to meet, because now we're intertwining our cultures, our thoughts. You know, I saw some of the comments and I was amazed. Some of the things that was said, I'm like, you know what? That is that South American, Central American thought process that looks at it with different lenses. And that's how we need to understand, because the more lenses are in the group, the more we all benefit. So thank you so much for everyone's input.
I love that, Harvey. And I think that goes back to the theme that Fernando brings and surfaces to this entire kind of area relative to collaboration. Maybe, Fernando, you want to speak to collaboration and some of your thoughts around that with AI.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I think, well, collaboration has been in our DNA since the beginning, as we created this large network of educational leaders in Latin America. Now we see that this need requires a better connection between education and the actual workspace and what is happening in industry and the nearshoring opportunities that are coming. So I think now the challenge is collaborating between AI and humans to augment our humanity. And that is why we think that this collaboration with you, Next Collabs, and this community here is the next level. We are embracing this new era, and I think this is why we are exciting. I think we accomplished so much over the past decade in just collaborating to bring technology into education. Now we need to educate for the digital era, which is different. And I think that is the challenge.
Yes. Okay, go ahead, Carl.
Thank you very much. And great to meet you all. I think all the presentations were fantastic. It's just incredible to watch that Moore's Law go on for 40 or 50 years. and think about the future and about humanity, I think it's fantastic. But my question is, what do we think? Anybody in the audience, not so much about us humans, but about biodiversity, the protection of the temperate rainforests in Africa, Asia, and Brazil, and climate change. Do we think AI will be that powerful to protect what we have left of the planet?
So I happen to just have spent the weekend at an event, a TED event in Boston about planetary stewardship. And the amount of AI at that event was staggering. And it's from tracking megafires to understanding forest health, the amazing thing is we have a blanket of sensors already on our planet in the sky, right? In orbit, the number of satellites that are tracking and understanding how we do agriculture, how we do transportation, how heat is coming off of our cities. I mean, so I bring it up because that is effectively a big data problem. And now we finally have the scale processing to extract the signal from the noise in that data. And that's AI in short, right? I mean, that's the ability to do things at scale. So I left this weekend. I mean, this was all day Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Very optimistic. I mean, it's incredible how much information we're actually extracting now and how we are now able to analyze it and take action. It was amazing.
And that's good news. Thank you very much. Like you say, we have data, and I think it's a data problem and a caring problem and a political problem. How do we get those politicians in those emerging markets, Africa, Latin America, and Asia, to care about those issues? But thank you very much for the answer. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, Carl. And by the way, we also, as I think Brad had outlined, that we have a global thought leadership community as part of Next Collabs. And I'll put the link in the chat to that, where we have like every week a conversation related to this. And we read authors and bring authors in related to this, like Ray Dalio, Harari, and others, because this is also about humanity and how can we shape the future consciously. So that's our that's our North Star. I noticed that Germain, you had your hand up, or you were going to say something at some point. Is German and Scotia. Did you have a question or a comment?
Germán?
Yes.
Just a little remark. A month ago, we had an encounter with several ministers of education from Latin America dealing with the issue of artificial intelligence for education. And one of the things we explore is that we will need kind of the largest endeavor to re-skill or train the teachers, both for the elementary schools and for universities. In the first case, for the adoption of the technology early in the game, and in the second, for the change the professions are going to suffer in the years to come, that will require deans and teachers or professors at the universities to reshape everything they have been doing. So it's a major challenge. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for that comment. And okay, is it Jose or Josu?
It's Josue. You got it. Awesome. Hey, good morning, everyone. I was just wondering your thoughts about well, first of all, thank you for all the talks. That was great. Greetings from Costa Rica. And I was wondering, I've heard a couple people and I've heard a couple comments. Oh, this is going to be this AI thing. It's going to be like the XR, like the VR. Now everybody's jumping into the wave, but a couple of years after, boom, everything is gonna be gone. What are your thoughts about that thinking from some people, or that talk?
Yeah. Okay,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Doug, and then we'll go to Roy.
Yeah. One comment is I look at the cellular industry, like McKinsey, I think in the early 80s said that, maybe there would be a few million cell phone users by 2000. And, we got in 2002, we got 1 billion and bad mistakes were made. So I guess my comment there would be we were focusing on XR immersive technology. And I still think in the next 5 to 10 years, that's going to take off. It's going to be like the smartphone technology, but it needs some more enhancement in technology. But I do believe, looking at the data that's coming out for people like Boston Consulting and others, and the different studies coming out, that we're in the AI moment this year. And if you're not using these tools in the next 2 years, you could get left behind. So that's why it's critical to understand how to use these tools.
Thanks, Doug. And I'd also like to hear from Roy, because Roy, on that sort of, the hype cycle, does AI transcend the hype cycle? I have a suspicion it does, because it really is behaving very differently than any other expo tech to date, right?
Yeah, I would say there are a lot of things that demand behavior change. Okay, so going into the multiverse versus interacting this way demands a significant behavior change. There's a bunch of technologies that there's plenty of crypto, using a cryptocurrency versus a fiat currency, right? There's a whole bunch of things that cause noise in the technology space. The difference here is that we are at a convergence point. So it's big data, scale processing, ubiquitous internet connectivity. All of these things are colliding, such that AI, while it's somewhat of a behavior change, I didn't have the option to interact with AI before, it's really an enhancement. In fact, I often tell people we landed on the wrong A and on the wrong I. Artificial seems fake, not real, not true in some way, and intelligence also not exactly sure it's right. I prefer, for instance, augmented imagination. So really what it's doing is enhancing our imaginative capabilities in writing, in art, in fact, AI at the moment, and I hope this message comes through, do not trust it. It is not a fact-finding service. It is not a Google search engine. It is not accessing a database of facts. It is giving you credible, believable, feasible answers, word after word, that seem right, that could be right, that are believable. It is a storyteller, and it's great for enhancing your imagination and your ability to create. It is not meant to be accurate. If it was, frankly, we would have a real copyright problem. If it was cutting and pasting, that would be a copyright problem. It doesn't do that. It's creating on the fly. And so I don't think it's going away. I don't think this is a hype issue. I think this is a enhancement to human imagination that when it comes down to it, the people who are using it are going to be faster, quicker, better than the people who are not. And my last word would be play. It's you have free access to it at this point. So play with it, see what happens, see how it changes your workflow or doesn't.
On that note, thanks so much, Roy, for opening it up, because I think this does not behave according to the hype cycle. It really is transcendent in a sense. It's operating on a whole nother level, and it's democratizing around the world that all of us can work with these tools out of the box frictionlessly. So this is an exciting moment. Really thank Fernando and Juanita for the invitation and to set this partnership up, and kind of like the bridge between Latin America and North America. Let's kind of unite and collaborate. Fantastic session. Thanks to all our speakers. Just beautiful set of talks, all 10 minutes long, just one after the other. What a professional bunch. Really appreciate all of you. So with that, that's the end of the meeting. I'll leave the last word to you, Juanita, or to Fernando.
What a responsibility. I will ask Fernando to join me. But last but not least, at EdLatam, our DNA has always been collaborations. We born 5 years ago creating the EdTech community in LATAM. And now that we are entering to a new area, collaborating with Next Collabs we take us to a next dimension. We are excited to help companies, schools, universities, governments to build their mindset, skill set, and tool set to bring LATAM into the forefront of AI. We can support you with workshops, learning labs, consulting. So with Michael and the whole Next Collabs team as well from LATAM Alliance, we are exciting and waiting to get in touch with you one-on-one and to start to understand which are your roadblocks, your goals, and your aspirations, and help you to achieve that with AI. Fernando, would you like to add something else?
No, just thank everyone. I think it's an exciting time, and I think we are entering a new era. We already got a number of networks within Latin America that are willing to join us in this. So we believe in this collaboration. And thank you, Michael, Gary. Thank you, Marty, Roy, Doug, Ivan. Everyone has been great. Thank you again.